Hey! Okay, so I'm just going to do an eyeshadow video with some similar eyeshadows to what you have, or what you just bought, but I don't have the exact ones. So kind of just play with them and see how you like to put them together. But this is just a super basic and simple eyeshadow look that you could do. First, I usually start with a primer. I don't know if you usually have problems with your eyeshadow like creasing, but I have really oily eyelids, so using a primer helps a ton. This is the one that I use. It's called Becca. The brand is Becca. It's Ever Matte Poreless Priming. You can use any primer that you want. This is just the one that I had. And I just use a super tiny amount and put that on my eyelids before I start applying any makeup. And this just helps the eyeshadow to stay where you want it and to prevent it from creasing throughout the day. So I definitely recommend that if you have a problem with creasing. If you don't have a problem with creasing, then don't worry about it. Another thing that I like to do, or that you can do, you definitely don't have to, but you can, is I put a little bit of my brightening highlight, which yours is June, and I'll just tap a little bit of that on my eyelids, and it kind of just gets rid of the veins in your, there's a bug, the veins in your eyelids. Like literally most people, everybody has them, but it kind of just lets you start with a clean slate here. And I just put the tiniest amount, just enough to cover and cancel out the blues and greens that show through my eyelids. And that also can act as a primer and help your eyeshadow stay in place. Okay, let's get to the fun part. So, I just have 4 eyeshadows here. Just ignore this one, I use that for my brows. I usually will start with the fluffy end of my eyeshadow brush and go into like a neutral shade here. This is called Oak. And I usually will just windshield wiper that into my crease, and this is kind of going to act as our transitions shade. I'm definitely no eyeshadow expert, so if you have a way you like to do your eyeshadows, do it. This is just an option for you. So I windshield wiper that on until I'm happy, and kind of drag it down my eyelid. And do it to the other eye here. Alright, so we got our transition shade on now. And then usually I'll flip my brush over and I'll work lightest to darkest. You have the brush cleaning tile that you got as one of your gifts. So if you want to go darkest to lightest or however you want, you totally can. You just swipe your brush on your brush cleaning tile between shades, and that's what that kind of is for and will help you do. Anyway, I work lightest to darkest usually, so this I'm tapping into is called Sabrina also. It's a good habit to just, after you tap into your powder, to just tap it on the side of your compact or on your table or whatever, your mirror, just to get the excess powder off, unless you want it to be super pigmented when you apply it. You can do what you want, but just another option. So I got the Sabrina, the lightest shade, and I usually start with that in the inner corner of my eye. And then I'll usually put it up here on my brow bone also. And that's it. You can drag it down under a little bit there if you want to. So then I'm just going to do that to the other eye. Then I'll usually do like a medium shade. So we've got our transition shade in our crease, which was that Oak. And then we have the Sabrina, or your lightest shade, in the inner corner and your brow bone. And then I'll usually go to like a medium shade here and put it on the center of my lid. kind of just tap it on there or swipe. Just do that to both eyes. And then finally, I'll use my darkest shade, which this is Zion. I thought it might be kind of close to this. I think the color you have is Sedona. I really like this color, and you can do it really concentrated, or you can, I've used it as like my transition shade, like that first initial shade in the crease, just really lightly, and it adds a really nice base for you. Anyway, but for this look, I'm just gonna tap into it and set it on this outside corner. You can kind of make a V in your lid there and work it in a little bit. Sometimes with this outer corner, I like to use my finger, especially if I want, or even on the center of my lid, especially if it's like a shimmer or something. I'll just use my finger and tap it. Gives you a little bit more control, but also makes it just a tad more pigmented. Just depends on the look you're going for. So that is literally what I do every day. I just change up my colors. You just want to keep your darker colors on the outer corner and then lighter colors towards the inner corner. Sometimes if you want to at the end, I'll take the fluffy end of my brush and just kind of swirl those around. I don't like to blend them together too much because then you kind of lose the colors within each other. But there you go. That's it. Pretty simple.